This is the book of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 9, and it reads, it says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. NLT, this man will come to do the work of Satan with counterfeit power and signs and miracles.
China's Neo brain implant just became the first brain-computer interface to receive full marketing approval anywhere on Earth. And the story behind that approval reveals far more than any headline has captured. In March 2026, China's medical regulator granted a Shanghai startup called Neuracle Medical Technology, something no company had ever held before, which was permission to sell an implantable brain-computer interface as a finished prescribable medical product. This wasn't just a research permit or a compassionate use workaround, but a full commercial approval that effectively moved the technology from the lab to the pharmacy shelf. Elon Musk's Neuralink has owned the public conversation around brain chips for nearly a decade, yet a company most people have never encountered just cleared the regulatory bar first, raising the question of whether China and Neuralink are even running the same race. The real story isn't about who won, because in regulatory terms, that answer is obvious, but rather what this approval actually covers, and more importantly, what it doesn't. Brain-computer interfaces have existed as a scientific ambition since the 1970s, but for decades, they stayed locked inside university labs and tethered to bulky hardware. The turning point came when the question shifted from whether we can read the brain to whether we can do it wirelessly and safely at a scale that helps real patients. While corporate brain implants are often framed as born-from-nothing breakthroughs, they are actually engineering translations of decades of academic science. And as of March 2026, we finally have the first answer to who can build a device reliable enough to leave the research ward. The device itself is called NEO, short for Neural Electronic Opportunity, and it's manufactured by a company listed as Boruikang Medical Technology. Picture a coin-sized unit embedded flush with the skull, sitting directly over the motor cortex, which is the brain region that governs voluntary movement. 8 electrodes rest on the outer surface of the dura mater, the brain's protective membrane, without ever piercing brain tissue. Think of it like pressing a microphone against the outside of a wall rather than drilling into the room, which means you lose some detail but you avoid tearing through the delicate structure of the brain itself. When a patient imagines moving their hand, those 8 electrodes pick up the electrical field and transmit the signal wirelessly to an external processor, which decodes the intention into simple commands like grasp or release. This command then inflates a soft robotic glove worn on the paralyzed hand, creating a loop where the person thinks grip, and the glove grips. Neuracle developed this system alongside Tsinghua University, and by the time approval landed, over 30 patients with chronic quadriplegia had received the implant. Investigators reported a 100% improvement rate on hand grasp function scales, which is a striking number, though it comes with a serious caveat. Neuracle is a relatively small operation with disclosed funding of around 10 to 11 million US dollars, whereas Neuralink occupies a different universe of capital, backed by over $1.2 billion from investors like Sequoia and Founders Fund. Neuralink's valuation sits somewhere between $9 and $15 billion, and they employ a specialized surgical robot to implant a device with over 1,000 electrodes, which is 100 times the channel count of the NEO system. If NEO functions like a walkie-talkie, Neuralink aims to be a full broadband connection, enabling complex tasks like editing videos or playing chess with only a thought. Yet despite this massive bandwidth, Neuralink still has 0 approved products anywhere in the world. This contrast exposes 2 different strategic bets, where NEO deliberately narrowed its scope to clear the regulatory bar with one simple indication for hand grasp. Neuralink is betting on a platform, and while their demonstrations are impressive, they remain confined to research protocols with no formal marketing submission to the FDA.
All right, so you can check out the rest of that. But these are those pseudo miracles, man, lying wonders. All right, Shalom. I want to give all the praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth, and Shalom to the hopeful elect. I'm back with another quick lesson through the Holy Spirit, the Rakak Wadash. Scriptures say, blessed is he that readeth, okay? For prophecy is faithful and true, right? This article here is from political.com. The headline reads, it says, Silicon Valley wants to put a chip in your brain. Okay? Silicon Valley wants to put a chip in your brain. A battle is looming, not just over privacy, but the future of the human species. There you go. All right. And I find it spiritual too on how you had, what's his name? Prince Charles the Edomite. Okay. He made the announcement of, in the UK, of the digital ID being rolled out. And now we have this. You see? So, hey, the point I want to make is that we are getting close of getting out of here, man. All right. And this is why, as we're going to come back to this article here, time is running out. Okay. Prophecy is coming to pass. And why you must prepare now. We'll come back to this, man, but it's all the spirit, right? You got to prepare. Okay. 2 Ezra 14 and verse 13, and it reads, it says, now therefore set thy house in order. All right. You got to set your house in order, starting with yourself. All right. This is the time to seek the Lord and repent, man. Sirach 5 and 7, make no tarrying to turn to the Lord. Okay. Hey, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, again, he's made this thing clear. All right. Now, therefore, set thy house in order and reprove thy people, comfort such of them as be in trouble. All right. Because this is a time of trouble that we're entering into. All right. Jacob's trouble, the hour of temptation, a financial reset. Okay. Economic collapse. You know. Comfort such of them that as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. Verse 14, let go from thee mortal thoughts, cast away the burdens of man, put off now the weak nature, right? This is the time to gird up. Okay, get your mind right. You know, because this thing is getting ready to collapse. You know, we're all catching hell, you know, America. You know, the financial burden that's going on right now with the economy and, you know, gas prices and inflation and, you know, the coming, you know, famines and food shortages and supply chain shortages, you know. But, hey, we got to keep our eye on the prize, man. All right, because this thing is ending quick, right? Verse 15, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times. For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen shall happen. I'm sorry, that hast seen. Let me read it again, Slakia. For yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. All right, so even more things are getting ready to happen. Okay, more psyops, more distractions. Okay, more you know, false, you know what's, you know. For look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein. So yeah, it's about to get much worse, right? So let's go back here. Again, Silicon Valley wants to put a chip in your brain. A battle is looming, not just over privacy, but the future of the human species, right? And this is what these are the main agendas of the elites, okay, to microchip the masses, man. And you know, it was heavy, like I said in the video here. Let me go back. It was like around the 1 minute mark about this technology. All right, let me pull it back up. Yeah, right here.
And more importantly, what it doesn't. Brain-computer interfaces have existed as a scientific ambition since the 1970s, but for decades, they stayed locked inside university labs.
Yeah. So this is pretty heavy because, like you said, this technology has been a scientific ambition since the 1970s, man. Right? Though it tarry, wait for it, shall surely come, right? This is Habakkuk 2 and 3. For the vision, all right, the prophecies, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak, right? We're at the end. But at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, right? Like you were saying, this technology has been in the making, all right, since the 1970s, man. Okay, these elites have been planning on, you know, microchipping society. You know, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry, and it's here now. This is why we're reading about it, right? NLT, this vision is for a future time. It describes the end and it will be fulfilled. If it seems slow in coming, right? You know, it's been around since the 60s, 70s. You know, it says, wait patiently, for it will surely take place. It will not be delayed. Look where we at now. This is what I'm saying. You know, it's spiritual how Prince Charles the Edomite made the announcement of the digital ID rollout. And now we're talking about, you know, even more of the push of this chip. You see? Let's summarize it real quick. Let's see what we can get from it. All right, because, hey, we're very close of getting out of here, man. So it says here on the left, the selected excerpt highlights the profound scope of neurotechnology developments in Silicon Valley, suggesting that these innovations transcend more gadgetry. Excuse me. Excuse me. It says broad implications. The technology is framed as a pivotal turning point for evolutionary development, right? This is the talk of the elites. Okay, remember, they're trying to transcend being human. Okay, they're trying to evolve humanity, you know? It says it suggests a shift from treating medical conditions to actively altering the trajectory of humanity, says the Spirit. Altering the trajectory of humanity, right? It says, focus on the human species. The selection emphasizes that the stakes involve the long-term future of mankind. Yep. They want to rewrite man in their own image. Okay? Through his pseudoscience. Okay? It says, it positions brain chip interfaces as a fundamental change in what it means to be human. There you go. It's all about changing what it means to be human, as we brought out week to week. Okay? And that's the point, right? So again, a blessed is he that readeth, right? For prophecy is faithful and true. The words of Yahweh Shem Yahushua have been confirmed, man. No way around it. Revelation 22, in verse 6, it says, and he said unto me, these sayings are faithful and true. In the Lord power, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, of the holy prophets, sent his angel to show unto his servants the things which must shortly be done. Right? NLT, the angel said unto me, everything you have heard and seen is trustworthy. Whew, man. Right? Everything you have heard and seen is trustworthy and true. The Lord power who inspires his prophets have sent his angel to tell his servants what will happen soon. Verse 7, behold, I come quickly. Blessed is he that keepeth the sayings of the prophecy of this book. That's it. NLT, look, I am coming soon. Blessed are those who obey the words of prophecy written in this book. Okay, again, there's no way around this thing, man. All right, this thing is coming in hot. The words of the Lord are faithful and true. 2 Ezra 15:1, behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith the Lord, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. That's it, man. Fear not the imaginations against thee, and it says, let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee, right? We're not worried about the disbelief. All right? Prophecy is coming to pass constantly, man. Every day. All right? The men of the Lord, the men of Yahweh Shem Yahushua warned you first, man. Period. Isaiah 42:9. Behold, the former things have come to pass, and new things do I declare before they spring forth. I tell you of them. NLT, everything I promised has come true. And now I will prophesy again. I will tell you the future before it happens. Okay? The prophets have told you the future before it happens. And now we hear it. Okay? Ezekiel 33, verse 33. And when this cometh to pass, lo, it will come, then shall they know that a prophet have been among them. That's it. You know? So when it's all said and done, all right, a lot of these camps, they're going to be scrambling, man. They're going to be looking like fools. All right? But at that point in time, you should already know Malachi 3:18. You should know by now. Malachi 3:18. Then you should return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth the Most High and him that serveth him not. Okay, there's a clear distinction. Okay, but you gotta have the spirit to see it. You know. So with all this being said, we know that the chip is here, right? But they're gonna need, again, a financial reset to make this the new form of payment, right? And all the writings on the wall are there. All the markings are there, man. All right, we see the whole. We see the entire play coming, right? Just let's continue to add on to that, right? Let's go here. Let's pull this up. Where's the article at? All right, so here it is right here. This is from the New York Times. Okay, it says, as Trump dismisses Iran truce plan, world braces for lasting economic pain. President Trump said the fragile ceasefire was on life support, quote unquote, and India's leader urged residents to cut back on purchases and travel. All right, so everything right now dealing with this Iran war is tied to this economy, which they're getting ready to tank. Okay, this is from Breaking Points. It says Iran war is the end of U.S. economic warfare dominance. All right, this dollar is about to go down. Okay, so they can implement this thing. You know.
Joining us now is Nicholas Mulder. He is a professor at Cornell University. He is an expert on economic warfare sanctions, and he wrote a very interesting piece in the Financial Times that we wanted to talk to him about. Let's go ahead and put this up here on the screen. This really grabbed my attention. What you wrote is that the era of U.S. dominance in economic warfare is over. America has long used sanctions to coerce adversaries, but Iran and China can wield powerful economic weapons too. Nicholas, tell us a little bit about the study that you've made here now so far of U.S. sanctions, their effectiveness now, and how they're working out in this war with Iran.
Yeah, so the United States came into this century, the 21st century, with a really unique position of economic power, and it's been using that for years against many countries to impose economic and financial sanctions. So Iran has been under sanctions since 2009. They were briefly lifted, and then there was a nuclear deal, and then Trump got out of that nuclear deal in 2018 and reimposed maximum pressure sanctions. But if you look at any number of other conflicts, the war in Ukraine, of course, there were big sanctions imposed against Russia, export controls on chips going to China. So it's been a big part of U.S. Chinese competition, North Korea, Cuba, Venezuela. All the conflicts, I think, that we are seeing at the moment really involve the use of sanctions. And the United States has been using them a lot, really, because it gives an easy alternative to boots on the ground and to directing more military effort towards these conflicts. But increasingly, you see that the sanctions not only don't really work, or they take a very long time to work, they also have really counterproductive effects. One of them is that the targets of these sanctions begin to cooperate more. So a lot of these countries are driven together more by the fact that they are all exposed to this US pressure. We can see that at the moment, particularly in the rise of this big shadow fleet. So a very large part of the global transport infrastructure that is now being devoted to basically trading oil outside of the reach of US sanctions. And increasingly also regimes that are exposed to it, countries that are exposed to sanctions, becoming more and more hardline. They don't see any real reason to negotiate with the United States, and they don't really trust the United States' negotiating position. And for that reason, I think that sanctions, often first billed as an alternative to war, have now really become kind of an on-ramp to war. And this is a conflict where we see that too, really.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, real quick. So, just want to add on to that because as he's saying, that the U.S. economic warfare dominance is a done deal, right? Real fast. Let me get Jeremiah 50 and 23 just to make that point. All right. Jeremiah 50 and 23 says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? All right. So Babylon was once regarded as the hammer of the whole earth. All right. Through dominance, through its economic warfare, its military, its power of the sword. All right. And now that power is being broken. Now they're becoming powerless. You see? Isaiah 47, right? There is no more throne. Isaiah 47 and 1. And it reads, it says, come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, right? Sit on the ground. There is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans, for thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. You see that? So the authority, the power, all right, is being brought down. Okay? The tactics that they do no longer work. Okay, these nations, they have the nuclear technology now. You see, so all the playing ground is even. You see, and this is all through the will of Yahweh Shem Yahushai. All right, these nations are starting to get the upper hand. You see, so it's all going to affect. The point is all going to affect the economy. We coming into the time where buying and selling is going to have a whole nother meaning, man. You see. So again, that's the point that we see it, right? Ezekiel, let me get that real quick. Ezekiel 7 and 19. Yep, Ezekiel 7 and 19. They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. All right, that's the money. Okay, we're in that transition now. Digital payments. Digital IDs, verification. Okay. The beast. Their silver and their gold should not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. They should not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity. All right. The point. Let's go here too. This is from News Target. Came out today, May 15th. Time is running out. Why you must prepare now. And I want to just get to the point down here. Right? The accelerating collapse of civilization. The economic system is teetering on the brink, you see? Everything ties back to the economy. Remember, they have to get rid of this thing, man. So all these events are leading up to the eventual crash, is my point. That's why we know we keep pushing the fact that, look, they're getting ready to bring the chip. This economy is going to tank. All right? They're bringing the new system. It says the economic system is teetering on the brink. National debt is out of control. The dollar is being systematically undermined, and rigged elections have destroyed faith in governance, right? People losing the faith in Babylon, America, politics, all of that. Meanwhile, the education system has become a tool of indoctrination rather than enlightenment, and the law is applied unevenly to protect the powerful. See? It says, let me jump down. Here we go. It says here at the bottom, it says the elite view the majority of humanity as obsolete, and they are willing to collapse entire sectors to achieve their goals. You see? It's all part of the plan, the polycrisis, man. The collapse of this current system. Underneath the surface, we see a growing number of small businesses starved of capital and banks on the brink of collapse. The impending bursting of the everything bubble seems inevitable. These are clearly not isolated events, but a coordinated assault on human life. All right? It's all the spirit. It says here, the overnight rise of superintelligence, right? Which we've been talking about, because the AI is going to be the end of this man's system. It says the AI data center build out is accelerating faster than most people realize. Over 3,000 new sites are being planned or constructed around the world right now, consuming land and energy on a scale never seen before. I've been watching this with growing sense of unease, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, last point, and we'll get back to the scripts. It says once superintelligence controls all systems, it is game over for humanity. With this level of computational power, these systems can manipulate the human psyche with ease, often in ways that are difficult to detect. The ultimate goal is to reduce the global population significantly. This is not science fiction. It is already unfolding. AI doesn't need robots to eliminate humans. It simply needs to manipulate us into doing so ourselves. This is why the time to prepare is now, before these systems gain total control. So yeah, it's over, man. That's the point, right? 1 Peter 4 and 7. All right, 1 Peter 4 and 7, and it reads here. 1 Peter 4 and 7, but the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch in the prayer. NLT, the end of the world is coming soon. Therefore be earnest in disciplining your prayers, right? Hey, it's right here. Okay? This AI is God and, you know, the ruling entity over society. Humanity faces an uncertain fate as experts brace for super intelligent AI, right? Artificial intelligence industry claims looming singularity will change everything, right? Let's see what we get out of that real quick. Just getting straight to the point here, and we'll wrap this up, right? But the point was this, right? We here, all right? The prophecies are faithful and true. It says here, it says the acceleration of AI capabilities. Let's see, any points? Bear with me, I just want to get to the point here. Yep, here it is. And the Spirit has me keep talking about this because this is how you know how close we're getting ready to come to this thing, man. Of them collapsing the economy, economic and security implications, automated cyber warfare. Google and Firefox have already observed hackers, notably from China and North Korea, using AI to exploit system flaws. Right? Yeah, we don't have to read anything else. That's the point, man. So we all know where this is going. All right? But again, blessed is he that readeth, man. For prophecy is faithful and true. Shalom.